What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is week 189 of this iteration of Voice of the Fans podcast. I am your man, Cam. That is my man, Cleavon, up in the Northwest. What's going on, big guy?
Doing good, Cam. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic, man. What's the weather like up there this week?
You know, we're not bad. We're about 67, kind of overcast, but, a few, sun breaks here or there,
67, huh? Well,
Yeah,
like the with the April showers bring May flowers, huh? So here come the flowers start to bloom this time of year.
There you go.
Right.
A little bit warmer, not so many sweatshirts and North Face coats.
There you go. You about ready to transition your wardrobe? That's what you guys go through up there?
Yes.
I can't say I miss those days actually, but I remember those days. I'll say that. How about that? Well, thank you for Cleveland for tuning in, man. You got the script. You got the script for the show.
For sure.
Man, as you know, Cleveland, want to appreciate it and give a shout out to the fans that tune into the show loyally. The fans, now you can communicate with us on Twitter, live on Twitter during the show. I'm actually got the Twitter page up now, so any comments you want to make, you can add them to the YouTube page. However you're watching HMB Media TV, whether it's a Voice of the Fans on YouTube, you can add your comments there, or you can go to Twitter for the live comments. It's @_Voice of the Fans. @_Voice of the Fans. That's much easier to remember, isn't it, Cleveland?
For sure.
@_Voice of the Fans. You can when Cleveland makes a ridiculous statement, I try to catch on fans.
Almost never.
Now all of a sudden he's become gun shy. In making bets and standing and sticking behind his word, he become gun shy. So when he makes a ridiculous comment, you have multiple ways to respond, multiple ways to respond to these shameful. They're gonna happen. I'll point them out when it happens. It's guaranteed to happen. There'll be 3 comments here that you're gonna have to that you're gonna just feel that you must respond to, and it's basically gonna come from Cleveland. That's it. It's basically gonna come from Cleveland. So we're going to get into our conversation, and if you want to respond, you can respond one of 3 ways, as I mentioned, on the comment thread of the YouTube page that you're watching, or @_Voice of the Fans on Twitter. We're here, we're live, we're responding to all of those. So Cleveland, you ready to get started?
Let's get down.
Each and every week, man, we do our numbers game, with it being May 4th, 2022, and the 189th episode. We're going to look at the number 4 and the number 89. When you think of the number 4, Cleveland, who wore that number best, or who comes to your mind first?
Brett Favre on both accounts, Big Cam.
Brett Favre. Oh my goodness! See, and this is a guy, fans, who tell you what colors you wearing today. What colors on your hat you got?
Of the University of Washington. Yeah, represent.
Your mom went there. Your dad went to the University of Washington. So your family.
My grandmother, myself, and 2 of my cousins went to the University of Washington. All graduated with degrees. Thanks so much for asking.
I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not convinced you went there, because you get.
I know. That's. I mean, you make it seem like I'm just fronting, just. Because I live in Seattle, I wear this. No, that's the
exactly.
School,
exactly. You know that's how it goes, right? You know all the colors over there. That's how it goes.
Okay. And so then you ask the question, and yes, grandmother, 2 uncles, 2 cousins, and myself. So 5 of us. Thanks for asking.
I mean, your grandmother, your uncles. They're not the topic of discussion right now. So
what is the topic of discussion right now? Whether I graduated from the University of Washington, I hope so. Because I keep throwing that on the job resume, they never question. So yeah, they were good.
Well, they don't do a show with you They don't do a show with you every week. So you're gonna tell me? So number 4, who the running back who broke a lot of records at the University of Washington, didn't cross your mind as wearing the best?
No, Corey did not wear the best.
Or do you even know who that is? Do you even know who that is?
Yeah, no, Corey didn't wear the best. Brett Favre wore the best.
Do you even know who number 4 was?
The first person that comes to mind.
Gee whiz. What about number 89? Who comes to your mind first? Number 89.
You know who comes to mind first is a cat from the University of Miami that then transferred up here to the Seattle Seahawks. A cat named Brian Blades. Mm-hmm. And quite possibly was never the best. Quite possibly.
He didn't wear better than number 9. Jeez, well, why am I having a brain fart? The kid played for Carolina, the receiver in Carolina. Why is Steve Smith? He didn't wear
Steve
better
Smith, senior?
Yeah, he didn't wear better than. You don't know. You don't know.
Well, Steve Smith did win the MVP. It was that one time.
You don't know.
Steve Smith won the MVP. Was that one time?
What do you mean?
And he went to USC. So I don't
know. Did Blades win it at all? You say he won it just one time. Did Blades?
I would have to double check with the stats, but I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to look at stats, I don't think you want to pull out the stat book, the stat sheet between those two. But I wanted to ask you though, honestly, I knew you would pull him out. Where does Brian Blades rank among Seahawks wide receivers? Is he top 5 Seattle Seahawks wide receivers, Brian Blades?
That's where I was going to put him, top 5.
Top 5? I mean, let's narrow that down. Is he top 3 of the Seahawks wide receivers? I mean, because when that unfortunately, that's just kind of a short list, right? And
yeah, I'm leaving it open. I mean, Steve Largent will always have the number 1 spot. You know, Daryl Jackson went to a Super Bowl.
Jerry Jack. I mean, Jerry Rice don't count, right? He wasn't the Seahawks wide receiver. Although you may look in the stat book, he may be there.
No, I was saying Daryl Jackson took them to a Super Bowl. So, okay.
I don't know if Daryl Jackson took them to a Super Bowl either. That's a little strong.
He was the receiver on the team that went to the Super Bowl. So,
Did he take them to the Super Bowl, or was that Alexander's MVP season? I mean, come on.
That was Alexander's MVP season, so that's true.
Let's be a little. Let's watch the language here. I don't know. Took him to a season might be a little strong. No, that was just something I was toiling around with. Where's Blades number on the Seahawks wide receivers, man?
Top 5 without doing too much, analysis, but quite possibly, in the 3 range.
He might be 3, man. That'd be an interesting case study. But what's been an interesting case study is these Bucks and Giannis, and what the Bucks was able to do in Game 1 to the Celtics, who were on fire. They were able to cool them down in Game 1. Giannis was able to put some work on them, and then in Game 2, we saw much of the same, but Giannis didn't get the additional help that he was getting from Grayson Allen in the scoring category. He didn't get that additional help because they were limited in points, but Giannis still goes off for a triple-double. How dominant was he in those 2 performances that you saw?
He was doing Giannis type things, and it's the second round of the playoffs, and we'll see if he can sustain that level of greatness throughout the second round.
Oh, you question his level, if he can sustain this or not?
Yeah.
Really? So you have the Celtics winning this series?
No. Not necessarily. I don't know who's going to win this series, but I think Jason Tatum has kind of evolved to a point where that might be as much of a problem as Giannis on the other side, and then it just comes down to what the other players are going to do. The cream will rise to the top, and hopefully I predict that it will be Giannis, but I'm not convinced.
Well, instead of you, dancing on the fence now, the series is 1-1. Why don't you go ahead and make a prediction on who's going to win the series?
No prediction. Not on that series. I will have predictions on other series that we talk about, but not that one.
Why not? Why not? This is one of the hottest series
for prediction's sake, it would be Milwaukee.
We're talking about the Celtics. So you pick Milwaukee. You got Giannis doing his things and actually winning out, but you're not sure. You want to still.
Well, I mean, you got the split, so they go back to Milwaukee. We'll see what they do there. But I think Giannis has the upper hand right now.
Well, obviously, yeah, he has the upper hand right now. Do you think the Celtics can come back and the growth that we've seen and the continuity that we've seen between Tatum and Brown, and obviously Smart being out, that kind of hurts them. But you think the growth that we've seen between Tatum and Brown can overcome Giannis eventually?
I don't.
Okay, I'm kind of with you on that one there. Remember, fans, you could tune in however you feel. Let us know how you guys feel. Can Tatum and Giannis, or can Tatum and Brown, can their growth overcome the Bucks? Can't argue with Cleveland right now. They're going back to Milwaukee tied up. The Bucks on the road. Their goal was to get a split. They got the split, and now they go home to see if they can get this game 3 and take the home court advantage. It's going to be a tough one. Smart is not playing. That's a better odds for Milwaukee to get the win at home, even though Chris Middleton is not playing now. Chris Middleton, even though he was a 50, 40, 90 guy, I kind of thought his numbers were what did it say? How does Shannon Sharp says his numbers were empty calories. I kind of thought that Chris Middleton, even though he had some good stats, his numbers were kind of empty. They're kind of hollow numbers. And this time without Grayson Allen, for example, stood in and brought the scoring punch for those guys to finish off their first series against the Bulls. Now here we are against Milwaukee. They go 1-1 against Boston. Excuse me, the team who had the best record in the league. Let's see what happens when they go home. Can somebody else step up for Giannis, or will they be missing Chris Middleton? What's your thoughts on Chris Middleton and his impact on the Milwaukee Bucks?
They certainly miss him. I mean, it's only been 2 games, but I mean, as soon as his presence is back in the lineup, you'll see the significant difference. But in the meantime,
will you though? Or is he going to slow the game down for him?
Well, I mean, they're the defending NBA champs, Cam. So, I mean, obviously,
I didn't say they're not the champs.
Yeah, but you don't really believe in them. You're kind of sidestepping them a little bit, which is cute.
No, I'm not believing in Chris Middleton. That's what I'm not believing in. He's an NBA. I'm not.
Okay, well, he's going to come with his 22, and that'll be fine. 22, 7, and 7.
Okay.
That's what they need. I mean, they're not my team, but that's what they need.
I mean,
I think he can bring that.
But they can get that same they can get that same from Grayson Allen though too, right?
No, not 27, 7, and 7 every game. No, every once in a while Grayson will go off and be like, "Ooh, well, you should probably put a hand up." But yeah.
I mean, he just finished
off the second round of the NBA.
He finished off the Bulls in the first round. He finished off the Bulls in the first round.
Cam.
Okay.
It's the second round of the NBA playoffs. This is when you really see who people are.
Okay, all right, that's a fair point. So we'll see if I'm right, if they will be missing Chris Middleton, or if Grayson Allen can suffice, or some other character on the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll see if they suffice, and if they'll be able to beat the Celtics without that guy. And he making like $36 million. Talk about some trade bait for some of you suckers around the league who just take the 22 points I mean,
not at all, man. I mean, just
so who just think somebody who scored 20 points a game? Somebody who just scored 20 points a game, they're good and they're a Hall of Fame player if they do that for 5 years, 6 years straight. They just scored 20 points a game. Let's take that. Never mind anything else. Yeah, exactly. You're one of those guys.
20 points a game like it ain't nothing. Okay. All right, Cam. Cam.
I'm just saying. What about the Heat and the Sixers? I mean, the Heat Embiid went out. Obviously, he got the Doc taking more shrapnel because he left Embiid. He left the starters in the game with 4.5 minutes to go, and they're up 20.
Up by 29. Up by 29. Yeah.
And then his excuse was, "Well, the other team had their starters in the game."
Yeah, you hear the logic, right? I mean, they have their starters in the game.
I mean,
their starters are trying to come back. Your starters were up by 29. That's not the same thing.
I love
it's Doc, not starter for starter when you're up by 29, right?
I like Doc. Come
God.
on.
What does that sound like?
You should have workshopped that. You didn't workshop that amongst the coaches or something. I mean, come on. That was a bad response there. I don't know. I'm glad they got past the first round, and he got past the Raptors, and there wasn't that comeback on their books. Against the Heat, they're outmanned. I don't know what the score is now, but when I just turned it off, they're up 10. Against the Heat, I think they're outmanned. Harden going down is not their fault. Excuse me, Embiid going down is not. What can you do? He just takes the elbow to the eye. I mean, that's just bad luck, right? That's just kind of bad.
It's bad luck. The elbow, the thumb. It's bad luck, man. I mean, otherwise, it's a different thing, right?
I mean, you can't blame him because his best guy gets a broken orbital bone. You can't blame him for that. I mean, it's not. The only thing you can blame him for is having the guy in the game. And does that
and the argument to not having him in the game is because he might get hurt. So it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. So I don't expect this version without Joel Embiid able to kind of put up a good battle against the Heat. Unfortunately, the Heat are rolling. I mean, they quietly was under the radar all season long, came out and snatched the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. And these guys, the Heat aren't built for this season. Let's just say that. They're not built for today. They were in a bubble a couple years ago. So they had the disappointing season last year. Now they're this is a team kind of coming back with a vengeance. And that being said, like, again, that's when I say they're not built for this season. They're built for more of the long haul, and this is this team showing like who they are at the right time. Are you ready to call this series here?
Yeah, I mean the Heat won the first game at home. They will probably win the second game at home, and then they'll go back to Philadelphia, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, you think there's some chance with Embiid coming back that Embiid can go to work on the Heat? Is this what you're thinking?
Yes, Embiid can go to work on anybody.
Does Embiid going to work? Does that mean they can come back and win the series? Is that where you're ready to go?
Depends on how Embiid comes back and goes to work, right? If he comes back and goes to work like there's nobody that can stop me on the Miami Heat.
I mean that's kind of strong.
Adebayo might try for a little bit, but I'm 5 inches taller than him. Yeah. No.
Bam, Strus. I mean Denton. I'm sure they.
Who did you say?
Yeah, exactly.
Strus and Denton. I got somebody that scores 30 points a game.
Okay, who else is going to score? Who else is going to score in that time? If Embiid goes off for 45, let's say, who else are you counting on? Thibault and Maxey?
Well, supposed to be counting on the MVP from 2 years ago. His name is James Harden. Unfortunately, when he gets to the
term?
playoffs, he plays like his name is Jimmy Harden and not quite the same production. So if that's a dude that you can't stop from scoring 35 points a game, well, then you got a problem. If that's the dude that just, hey, man, what are you doing after the game? I know this place Roxy's down the street. Diamond will give you a really good lap dance. It's like, man, okay.
No. I'm not going. That's too easy. That's too easy to blame it on his extracurricular.
Why is that too?
That's too easy. You got a better term that you like to use, and I'd like to ask this question. What's the term you like to use? How fast do these athletes age?
In dog years, my dude. Football players age in dog years. Basketball players are not supposed to age in dog years, man. It's supposed to be a gradual decline.
So listen. So some players that we already know, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is not going to retire the game and then have a pot belly and walking around looking like Gary Payton, right? That's not going to happen to Kevin Durant, right? We know a player like a guy like Shaq. Shaq's gonna have to paint some abs on because Shaq gonna get loose and kick it. He's not going to the gym. you know what I'm saying? That body type.
Looking like Eric Snow out here, yeah.
And then we got James Harden. James Harden
is still playing, trying to win championships. Why are you making comparisons to people that don't play no more?
I'm telling you.
What kind of comparison is that? You're making comparisons when they're retired, they're won for championships.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not listening to what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is there certain body types that translate to staying healthy and staying in shape. James Harden doesn't have that body. James Harden doesn't have that body type.
He's playing.
You think so?
It's real intense. By the second round, it gets real intense. By the conference finals, it gets.
But we've been questioning this. We've been questioning this for weeks now. Though we've been questioning where's his production then? Where's his 25 points a game?
To be here right now,
25 and 12. That's exactly my point. Exactly my point. We've been questioning this for weeks now. So is it? Are you telling? You're going to tell me just the strength of competition has slowed him down? And I'm not going to allow you to say
it's
that.
Him.
I'm not going to let you say that.
It's all him.
So is it age? What is it? Is it age? You're ready to go to the bar? He's
it's not
preoccupied.
Age. It's not ability. It's intensity. It's intensity.
So he doesn't have
intensity and his inability to click in and focus up, man.
That's interesting.
He doesn't have that ability.
That's interesting. Wow. Okay, so the Sixers did get by the Raptors to get here to where they are. What's your give us your synopsis on the Raptors before we wrap up the season? We talked about last week Boston wrapping up beating up on the Nets and kind of gave their synopsis. Give us your synopsis on the Raptors. Besides Ujiri, I don't know if you heard his comments the other day. About people fishing around and looking for his, sniffing around for his head coach. He says, hey, people have wish lists too. I have a wish list. I can dream. There's things I want. Well, whether I get them or not, that's a totally different thing. He said, but I have a wish list too, which was a kind of a great response to asking. People asking about his coach maybe, going somewhere because he's under contract here. So, what's your thoughts on the Raptors? Is it health that's gonna bring those guys back? What's your thoughts on the Raptors season and what do you expect from them going into the next season?
It's unfortunate that Van Vliet went down when he did. Perhaps the series would have been different. But again, they were playing against someone that was in the finals. I'm sorry, a finalist for the most valuable player in the NBA. So what were they going to do? I mean, that was as best as they could do. And we already see that you have to make a miraculous trade to get miraculous talent to Toronto because free agents don't cross the border. And they're never going to be bad enough to get a pick that will land them a player that can make a significant difference. So it's up to the GM to make one of those trades.
So trade some of their young talent to.
If your aspirations are to get back to the finals, if it's just to be in the playoffs and be cool, which is great for Toronto. I mean, hey man, there's only a few teams that can get to the second round. There's only 8 teams, right? So if you want to be one of those guys, yeah.
Do they need a
point guard? You want to win it all again? Yeah, you got to do drastic things.
Do they need a point guard? Do they need more scoring? What do you think they need? What are they like?
They need a lot more scoring. They need like a superstar, man. They don't have a superstar. You already want to win a championship. I'm sorry, you're still confused about this. In order to win an NBA championship, you need a superstar, and actually, you need 2 most of the time.
And they don't have one.
They don't have one.
So you're saying they don't have no shot.
And the last time they had 2 of the superstars on the other team got hurt and couldn't play anymore. That's the last time they were really good.
Oh, so it has happened. So your little formula has been blown up and it has been
it has twice in 40 years. Twice in 40 years.
Oh wow.
I'm sorry, twice in 42 years. My last assessment.
So Pascal Siakam, he's not a superstar?
No.
So you trade him? You trade Pascal for somebody?
Maybe.
What do you mean maybe? Do you want Pascal? Can you win with Pascal Siakam or not?
Not by himself, no. Can you win? Can you win what? A championship? No.
Yeah.
No, man.
Can he be your second best player?
He can be your second best player. You'd hope he's your third best player, but he could be your second best player depending on who your best player is and go to war real tough.
I mean, they got him and Scotty Barnes.
Nah.
Rookie of the year. Rookie of the year.
See, I love this time of the year, Cam. I love this time of the year because you will throw things out like Scotty Barnes and Siakam should be able to combat for a championship. It's like, no. That's why the NBA playoffs are so pure. Like no other sport.
Okay, so the Suns over the Pelicans. The Pelicans, they got 2 games over the Suns. They kind of surprised them for a minute. Had them on the ropes a little bit, if you will. The Pelicans, the Suns obviously finished them off. But let's get our synopsis on the Pelicans with Mr. Slim. I want to say Slim Reaper. That's not what I'm talking about. Brandon Ingram doing his damage. Are you hoping that your guy Zion comes back and you roll with Brandon Ingram and Zion next season? What do they do? What are they doing?
Zion eats too good down there in New Orleans, and he's disinterested. He wants to be in a big market, and New Orleans is not a big market, and he's 370 pounds. That's grotesque.
So if you're the New Orleans Pelicans, do you trade him? What do you do with Zion? You trade him. You try to get him the most you can.
Yes.
Show him the tapes of him up in Nike Town up there
working at when he ripped out of his shoe, the best games he had last year.
How far do you go back? Do you go back to the 7th grade highlights? How far do you go back?
Man, if you have to, this is what he's capable of doing. He just hasn't done it for us. Doesn't mean he won't do it for you. Give me that guy, and we had a deal.
So, what would you want ideally? If that's your logic, what would you want ideally for Zion Williamson? If you're the New Orleans Pelicans, do you want a point guard? Do you want a point guard and a power forward? What do you want for Zion Williams to do? I mean, considering that team, and what would you ideally want?
If you identify your team as revolving around CJ McCollum, then what you want is either a really good point guard or a really good power forward. And a lot of picks.
And you think you would garner a lot of picks from Zion Williamson?
2 first rounders at least.
Interesting. I don't know what the market would be for Zion. I'd imagine for certain markets like LA would be stupid enough to give you a player, a couple players.
Don't talk about Steve Ballmer like that, man. That's the 10th richest man on the planet.
That's not at all what I'm talking about.
You said LA. What are you talking
about? Jeannie Buss. Jeannie Buss and those guys.
Rob Pelinka is in charge over there, and he's not going to pull the trigger on that.
Whomever. You know, because LeBron's wife, LeBron's daughter might be in charge for all we know. The way things are going on over there. For all we know.
Why would LeBron's daughter be in charge of the most storied franchise in the history?
LeBron doesn't want to be bothered. LeBron doesn't want to be bothered. He's working on a new film. He's working in his production company.
It's Clipper talk right there, man. That's when you've been doing too many Clipper, after game, interviews and whatnot. Man, that's terrible.
Okay. Anyway,
17-0. It's still 17-0, by the way.
We're talking about the Pelicans, and what
still 17-0.
What do you see from the Pelicans?
What I see from the Pelicans as far as what?
Yeah. What should they be focused on going into next season?
Oh man, just trying to, maintain their roster, see if they can bring their number 1 pick from 3 years ago back to, prominence.
You just told me
that's be their entire focus, getting him down in weight and getting his injury taken care of.
So you would try to make that work out before you would trade him. You just get you see what I'm saying, fans @ voice of the fans. You see what I'm saying? This guy just gave me in 30 seconds. He just gave me 2 different philosophies.
You asked me what the Pelicans' focus should be. That should be their focus. What do I think that they should do? They should move on because he doesn't want to be there, and he's just getting fat and lazy. And clearly, that's what's happened. I mean, it's so terrible. I've heard this from so many people down in Louisiana. He's just has a propensity to do that. I mean, what are you going to do? You give somebody that already is kind of, that size and just likes to eat, man. He likes to eat.
All right, so now we got the Suns. We got the Suns taking on the Mavericks. The Mavericks beat Utah. Before we get into the Suns Mavericks matchup, the Suns beat. Who did the Suns beat? The number 18. The Pelicans. We talked about that. The Mavericks beat Utah. Now they have to make a decision. Do you rebuild with Rudy Gobert, or do you put your stock in Donovan Mitchell? What would you do if you were Dwayne Wade and Danny Ainge?
Rebuild with Rudy Gobert. Get as much as you can for Donovan Mitchell.
Is that only because you can get more for Donovan Mitchell than you can Rudy Gobert, or at least that's your belief?
No, you know what you're getting in Rudy Gobert, and Donovan Mitchell will come and go.
Wow, dude, wow. So you're just saying that because Rudy Gobert is a more rare commodity. But now when you get rid of Rudy Gobert or get rid of Donovan Mitchell, you're looking for a prime-time scorer.
It's okay.
Is it easier to find that prime-time scorer than that big-time center? I don't know. That's a tough decision. That's a tough philosophy. Either way you go, you're gonna have to build around Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert cannot score and give you the efficiency scoring
No.
that you need. And he's not going to give you the assists.
Donovan Mitchell can't give you the consistent scoring that you need or the explosiveness. And when the games get tight and it gets to game 4 or 5, you kind of lose him. Where's he at? Do you lose Ja? Because you don't lose Ja, right?
I don't know. 12 Ja went off last night. We're going to get to that. Until he went off in the fourth quarter for 16 points. And I was kind of looking, wondering where he's at. I don't know about you. I was kind of wondering. It took me a minute to, and then he finally showed up. But there for a second, it was like, where's this guy at, right? If you're watching the game.
Okay, we'll get to that apparently. So
yeah, if you're watching the game. But no, it's going to be interesting to kind of see how the Utah, how they finish out. I think the Mavericks, I mean, when you got one guy, and to your point now, you should love the Mavericks because this is all you talk about ever. Oh, well, one guy. When you got that dude, you can do whatever you want. And the Mavericks have that dude. And from everything that Cleveland has told me for the last 9 years, if you have that dude, you have that chance. And the Mavericks should have that chance, according to Mr. Cleveland. But what I've been trying to tell Cleveland is when you have a cohesive unit and you have a team with the players along with the coaching, now we see that that's going to win, right? So I think I just thought about this combination, this matchup between the Suns and the Mavericks is a case study for our show, is it not? Am I wrong in saying that? Oh, he don't want to talk.
Of course, you're wrong. Look how you try and invoke your case study when it's like, what? Sideways and backwards, man.
What are you talking about? You've always said
the number one team. We're talking about a team.
Oh man, my goodness.
Devin Booker on the other side.
Oh now.
Number 8 on the other side. And Chris Paul on the other side.
You're not a fan of either one of those
guys. Neither
one of those guys you're a fan of. Neither one of those guys you're a fan of.
Trying to, by himself, single-handedly get past the second round. He has never been past the first round until this year.
This is what Young Sam has told me.
Why did he get past the first round this year, Cam? Because they were playing the Utah Jazz.
Oh, wow. So he shouldn't even got this far. It's kind of what you're saying.
He got this far. I mean, he missed the first 2 games, and they still didn't get. I'm not gonna go all Stephen A. Smith on you, Cam.
So he
for real. That dude missed the first 2 games, and they did not capitalize.
Okay, that's Utah guys. But have you not been telling me now for the last 8 years that when you have that dude in the NBA, everything else doesn't matter as long as this dude goes to work?
That's 100%. That's 100%. That's 100% truth.
So what I said,
if you pay attention,
if I pay attention,
is that you really actually need 2.
Oh, here we go.
And 1, you have to be Allen Iverson-esque to really get there. And that was 20 years ago.
Luka is not enough.
No. You have not looked at the blueprint of how NBA championships have been won for the last 42 years, have you? You have to have one of the 30 greatest players on your team to win a championship.
Where's Luka?
He's not one of the 30 greatest players to ever lace him up, man. There's only been one team that has not had one of the 75 greatest players on it, and Luka is not that. Winning a championship is not in the top 75. Realistic expectation.
Wait, all of a sudden, Luka's not in the top 75?
No.
Is this what you're saying?
Did you see Luka on the list? Is he wearing one of the blue blazers with the diamond on the pocket? I didn't see him. Because everyone else since 1980, less one team, has a player with one of those jackets on.
Well, this year that's not going to happen. This year, your little mythology right now is going to be blown up because that's not going to happen.
Oh, I think Steph and Clay both have the jacket, don't they?
No, Giannis has a jacket. Giannis has the jacket.
Oh, so Giannis. So there's at least 3 players that have the jacket on. Oh, okay. And Joel Embiid, I mean, I'm not saying he deserves a jacket right at this very second, but it's certainly MVP caliber right now. So all kinds of beat up. So maybe he doesn't get it. But those other 3 players that I mentioned, they're in the conversation.
So all of a sudden, there's some modifications to this formula he has. And then he's telling
How was that a modification?
You're telling
how was that a modification when I said that every team from the last 42 years, less the Detroit Pistons, has somebody on their team that is wearing one of those jackets?
Because you're telling me that Luka's not enough. You're modifying your
No, Luka's not enough. He's not one of those dudes. And you're going back on my statement. You're trying to throw my statement at me, but then you're not like embracing the statement. No, you have to be that dude. You're right. You have to be wearing that coat.
Okay,
if you can't go into your closet and reach for the coat, you're not winning a championship. That's one time. One time in 42 years since 1980, my dude.
We'll have to see what this. We'll have to see how things fall out, how things fare out this season. And so he has Luka.
One more time. Before we get too far into it, you got to be able to reach into your closet and pull out that blue coat with the diamond on it to win a championship.
So with that being said, then there's only 3 teams that can win the finals this season.
You got it right.
Giannis, Golden State, and what about your guy Chris Paul? He can reach into the closet. He wasn't he on that list?
Oh, maybe so. Maybe Chris can reach in there and sure. I mean, just for shits and giggles, throw him on the list too. But we haven't seen the Chris Paul injury just yet.
Oh,
it's coming. It's coming.
Oh, wow. That's cool. That's cool for you to throw that out there. Oh, that's cool. You ain't right for that one. So Booker came back, so we're going to see then. That means Chris is going out. Huh? Is it going to be this series or next?
Next series.
All right. Well, we talked Grizzlies and the Timberwolves. We talked about Ant-Man. We talked about Cat and his ridiculous game. I told you I didn't like Cat's game. I told you that 2 weeks ago. I was not a fan of his game. Crunch time. He's pulling 30-footers. They're down by 1. He pulls a 30-footer with 3 minutes to go. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what do you do? Go post somebody up. Next time down court, he pulls a jumper, a jumper from the logo, like he did Damian Lillard even further. It's like, we're down by 1 point. Like, what are you doing with 3 minutes to go? Go post your big ass up. Let's take the lead and let's work from there. I didn't get it. It was terrible. It was terrible basketball that allowed the Grizzlies. I mean, the Grizzlies don't want to say they snuck by that one, but I think this is what we're going to see from the Grizzlies. Steven Jackson told me a couple weeks ago that
you can say they snuck by because Minnesota, the stat is horrible. Blew a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter 3 times.
I mean,
one of those times it was a 30-point lead at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible.
But I mean, you still have to get out there and do it. And say they snuck by. They won the game. They won the series. But before we get on to the Memphis side of things, let's just talk about the Timberwolves side of things. Like they made the playoffs. They had the first time they made the playoffs in a bunch of years. Do you keep this same roster together and hope they get smarter, wiser, and try to coach them up, or what do you do? Do you think they need a? I mean, do you think they need an overhaul? I mean, they got young players. I mean, D'Angelo Russell. If you look and just see this guy on the, if you walk up to play the Y and you see D'Angelo Russell out there warming up, like you want to sign that guy on your team for the rest of the day. But once you get into the game, you're like, what? What's going on, dude? Like, where you been? What kind of plays are those? Like, you just don't understand where his head goes on the floor. Carl Anthony Towns just explained to you what there. The best thing there is Anthony Edwards. So do you just trade what you can, trade those guys for what you can get, and just build around Anthony Edwards? What direction do you go with the Timberwolves if it was up to young Sam and Mr. Cleveland?
It's unfortunate, Cam. This dynamic is not sustainable, and eventually they should realize that and try and make the best moves necessary for the franchise. This is the first time in a long time, maybe ever, Cam, that we have seen a superstar, and I'm calling Anthony Edwards a superstar, of this magnitude that you just never heard of before, man. He was the number one pick of the Timberwolves. They sucked all year long, and you just weren't paying attention. And then it came the second year, and they were like, oh, they're kind of okay. Still never seen that dude play. So he had the opportunity in complete total anonymity to work on his game, get better, and all of a sudden it came time for the play-in, and man, he was super duper ready. And then it came for that AAU tournament series called the first round against Memphis, and he was super duper ready. 38 in the first playoff game he ever played in. So, of course, you would like to keep Anthony Edwards and Carl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell, but that you can already see that dynamic doesn't work, and then it becomes kind of a fear factor. Like, what do we do to fix this? Which one of these players do we keep? Well, of course, you would keep Anthony Edwards at this point. But what's you gonna get for Carl Anthony Towns, who's proven to be kind of a little bit Twinkie-ish in the playoffs? I think Kendrick Perkins called him out just as soft as can be. Soft serve McDonald's ice cream type.
Hey, well, hold on. Do you call up if you're A-Rod? Do you call up Pelinka? Yo, Rob, we got this big man. You got a big man. They both have issues. Let's swap them out and see where we can go.
No.
Would you? Who says no? Who says
Pelinka
no?
says no.
Pelinka says no?
For sure.
I don't know. I don't know that'd be a wise decision. I don't know.
Here's why.
At least one guy is on the court.
Here's why.
At least one guy is on the court.
No.
82,
and here's why.
82 games a year.
Here's why.
I think
because Tibbs was up in there before, right? And said we need some toughness because that guy's not really tough. I will trade you Zach LaVine and marketing and 2 first-round picks for that pit bull named Jimmy Butler. He got up in there and just scared the dickens out of those guys. So much so that they had to trade Jimmy Butler out of town. He was just too serious, too hardcore. Man.
Listen to this. 82, 82, 82, 77, 35, 50, 74. How would you like that? 82 games a year, 3 out of the 4 years. 4 out of, what is this? 6 out of his 8 years.
Bro,
he's played
Anthony Davis
over
has
75 games.
Anthony Davis has a championship.
Come on, don't act like
Carl
that.
Anthony Towns
don't
has
act like
never
he led
been
him to
out
that.
of the first
Don't act
round.
Anthony Davis had neither until he played with LeBron. He went out there one time, so can't stop it. He got out there one time on a fluke, but until he played with LeBron, until he played with LeBron,
thanks. That's what I would tell you.
Hey, Cleveland, just listen to this. Listen, just
no,
listen.
Your stats are meaningless. I mean, you already see what happens in the playoffs.
Listen. 64, 67, 68, 61, 75, 75, 58, 62, 36. Two seasons of his career as he played in over 75 games. 2 seasons of his career. Two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Only 2 seasons has he played over 75 games. Your guy. But you want to hold on to him. This is the guy you want to hold on to. Come on, man. At least the other guy. I'm not a huge Carl Anthony Towns fan, but geez, at least he's going to be on the court for you. You guy ain't played 82 games his whole career.
What? No.
Well, you know, you gotta work.
Don't need him. Don't want him.
You gotta work on that other part.
Don't want him. Can't use him. In the words of Mike Singletary.
All right, well, we don't know what's going on with the Timberwolves. They got a lot of work to do. Obviously, Anthony Edwards is the guy you built the team around. I guess you take whatever you can get for the other guys, because you got to focus on him. Or unless
they just recognize. That's the part that you were not realizing when I was making my statement. Like, in these next 3 years, you guys can hopefully do something, but Anthony Edwards is out of town, dude.
Oh boy.
He's not going to do a Giannis thing. I love it here so much. No, he's in Minnesota, man, and he's from the University of Georgia, man. Like, oh, okay, yeah, that was cool. We did some things. Yeah, you guys saw what I could do, right? Yeah. Bouncing.
He's going to be a Laker? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're telling me? He's going to be a Laker? You trying to? Is Young Sam kind of predicting the future?
From what I've heard, he's always fancied the purple and gold, and who wouldn't?
Here we go. See, here we go. This
who wouldn't?
This typical Laker crap right here. Typical Lakers right here.
I'm not saying that's where he's going. I mean, all of a sudden, it's camp. It's several years off of making a decision.
Yeah, hey, this is the same way you guys were with KD with Russell on their growth spurt in OKC. Oh yeah, they're going to be a Laker. Don't get too happy with them when their contract's up. They're coming to LA.
Oh, and lo and behold, Russell Westbrook is a Laker. Oh
wow. 2 teams later though, that wasn't like next. He couldn't wait to get to LA.
Okay, well, I'm sure Anthony Edwards leaving Minnesota feels quite differently.
All right, man. So we got now we got we talked about the Timberwolves side of things. The Warriors overcame the Nuggets to match up now with the Grizzlies, and let's talk about the Nuggets before we get into this matchup here with the Grizzlies and the Warriors. Is health the only thing hindering the Nuggets from actually run through the tape? I mean, they haven't been healthy. Obviously, Murray got hurt last playoffs.
No one wants to see a healthy Denver Nugget team with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. and the Joker and Aaron Gordon cleaning up things on the back end. No one wants to see that.
Do we see this a healthy Nuggets team next year, you think?
I don't know. They're fragile like Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay, I mean,
they're unbreakable, man. They're Mr. Glass. I don't know.
Oh man,
Michael Porter missed a whole other season again. He's missed like 3 whole seasons.
You know,
he's my guy. He went to Nathan Hale with undefeated in high school, won a state championship. That dude has had 3 seasons where he's missed the entire season.
I was going to see the Nuggets were in town. I get to the stadium earlier to go watch the Nuggets play the Clippers. And as I walk in the stadium, I come in the stadium. Like if I'm there early enough, the players get off the bus. They got to pass right through this corridor. Same corridor I passed through when I, as a media member. In this corridor, I happen to see Michael Porter Jr. I didn't see this tall, lanky dude. Obviously, he's a hooper. I'm not gonna make sure who it is. I said, "Who? Man." I asked him how you're feeling. I was expecting him to play that night. I didn't realize he just had the back surgery. So I'm like, "Man, how you feeling? How's it?" He's like, "Man, I feel good." He says, "Ever since a couple of days ago," he didn't say ever since I had the surgery. He just said ever since a couple of days ago, man, I felt loose. Like I feel. I said, "Well, how long are you out there?" He said it'll be a few weeks before I get back out there, though. I was like, "Okay, man. Well, we can't wait to see you." He's like, "Oh man, I appreciate you even saying that. Thanks for hollering at me." I was like, "Yeah, dude, keep doing your thing." I really was expecting him to play that night. Then it came out he had the back surgery. Okay, he's not playing. It's going to be a couple of weeks, and it ended up being he hasn't played all year. I just found that odd that he'd be at the stadium, a visiting stadium, roaming the hallways. It was just like he got off the bus and was going to the locker room. But I thought it was odd that he was there. Um, and we would need to see that kid get on the court because you're right. He could that would be a dangerous squad. So I agree with you. Health is hopefully they can be healthy and they can just kind of bring back their same squad that they had last year and they can kind of get the best out of the squad because nobody wants to see anybody go down and you're always wondering why about the team. But now that brings us to Cleveland, the Grizzlies and the Warriors. Now we talked about that dude earlier and what that means to have a team having that dude. And you try to tell me that Luka isn't that dude. That's what you told me and the fans earlier. Luka isn't that dude. And you still holding to that. Is Ja that dude? You're convinced. You're convinced and half the time you've seen Luka on the court that Ja is that man.
Yeah. You're not convinced, dude. I mean, Ja's serious, man. It's so unfortunate because as we Cam, I hate to put this hat on, man. As you watch someone's career as it's going to unfold and you cross your fingers and you just hope that they do the right thing for themselves as an athlete. You cannot recruit free agents to come to Memphis, and you're so good. Listen,
no.
Cam, listen to me.
He wants to go play in LA too.
Listen to me. Cam, listen to me.
He wants to go play in LA too.
This is not an endorsement to come to LA. This is not what I'm saying.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure.
That's what it sounds like.
This happens to so many superstars. It's going to happen to Trae Young in the same way. Listen.
I don't know how
he is so talented that he needs a legitimate number 2 with him, and he will never get it in Memphis because they can't recruit free agents, and they're never going to be bad enough to get a player good enough to play with him.
Jaren Jackson. He's supposed to be the number 2. He's supposed to be the complement to Jaren Jackson.
God, dude. Listen to yourself.
I'm telling you, he was drafted to be the complement to Jaren Jackson. So Jaren Jackson's not a number 2? Dylan Brooks. You don't like Dylan Brooks?
Aaron Bain. Keep going down the list, man. There is no legitimate number 2.
You know what?
For example, Klay Thompson is a legitimate number 2 to Steph Curry. They don't have that kind of recipe on their team.
Well, they don't have Klay Thompson on their team. Yeah, right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You need a legitimate number 2, and he doesn't have one.
Okay, so now what we learned today in the show, fans, And fans, I love doing the show with Cleveland every week. And this is why we got the new Twitter page. The Twitter page.
Word life.
Hit me
if I'm lying.
Well, you are lying, and this is I'm about to. You better cover up because I'm about to come at you. I'm about to come at you right now. Cleveland, you just told us that earlier. You got to be that man. You got to be that dude. You got to be that guy if you want to make that team somebody. You tell me Luka isn't that guy, but then you tell me Ja is that guy, but then now you're telling me that Ja needs somebody else. So what is it? Do you have to? If you're that guy, does that make the difference, or do you have to be a guy who needs some help make the difference? What is it? Because I believe
whoa, back up. Giannis has already proven he's that guy.
Not Giannis. I'm talking about Ja. You tell me Ja. Okay.
So Giannis is out of the conversation forever.
I meant Ja. You're telling me Luka isn't that guy. Now you're telling me Ja's that guy, but Ja needs some more help. Why isn't Luka that guy and he needs some more help?
Why isn't Luka that guy and he needs more help?
You're telling me Ja. You're telling me Ja is that guy, but he needs some more help. Why does that same logic work for Luka?
Because you've seen what John Morant's tongue-tied
over. Right? He's tongue-tied over their fans. He's a fan.
No, you saw Ja just go up against the Dragons and punch them both in their face and get to a split, right? Luka's cool, man. But he's not John Morant good.
You're telling me one guy. You're not listening to. You're not even listening to what you're telling me. What you're saying yourself. A half hour ago, you told me how Luka is not that man. He's not that guy. For 8 years, you've been telling me in the NBA, you have to be that guy. You have to be that dude. You have to be that man to make a difference. You're telling me Luka is not that man. But then now you're telling me Ja is that man, but he needs help to make a difference. Why does that same logic work for Luka? This is the contradiction.
Because Luka's not that guy.
Ja isn't. Apparently, according to your own kind of calculation, Ja isn't either because he needs help.
No. Ja is that guy. No. He needs a second dude.
Just tell me he needs help. You just need to tell me.
Can't. Rewind. Cut the footage, man.
You're losing credibility. You're losing credibility.
You're
losing credibility.
What I said was you need two of those guys. And in the last 42 years, the only team to win an NBA championship without one of those guys wearing one of those blue jackets is the 2004 Detroit Pistons, man. The only team. Every other team that has won the championship has a player on their team that can go into their closet and get one of those jackets. Luka has done all right. He's played exceptionally well. He has not been like Ja, man. You've seen Ja, man. Come on, man. Come on.
Okay, Cleveland. We're gonna
Allen Iverson with just a little bit more control to his game, man.
I'm not gonna get into this Ja fest with you guys. I'm not doing it. Ja is an outstanding player. He's outstanding. I'm not sure he's better than Luka Doncic, who plays for the Dallas Mavericks.
You don't even believe that. You're just trying to be controversial. Come on, man. Come on. If you saw the highlights of the two games and it was time for pickup and you had to pick somebody else, you're going to pick Luka over Ja Morant? You would not.
Luka is 6'9".
Saw that
Luka is 6'9",
It's
240.
the greatest dunk
with
in top 5 dunk in playoff history, man.
Here you go. We did this too. We did this last week. I gave you 5 dunks that was better than that.
Right.
We did this last week.
You're right. We did go over that, and we agreed to disagree. But here's what I'm saying, man.
We agreed to disagree. I thought I laid it out clearly. What gave you?
Okay, here's what I'm saying here: Ja Morant or Luka Doncic in the playoffs right now.
What do you mean? What in the playoffs? What are you talking about?
If you had to pick one of the players to do better and that you would want to have on your team, which one would it be?
I mean, the Grizzlies have a better chance of winning their series.
No, that's not the team. I said if you had a chance to pick Luka Doncic or Ja Morant right now in the playoffs in the second round and put him on your team, which player would you pick?
Give me the dude at 6'9" who's running down the court who can handle the ball,
making assists
like magic. I said Luka. I said Luka. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Luka. So, but with this being said, here's my next question though for you. In this series, the Grizzlies and the Warriors, is Ja the best player on the court?
No.
No, he's not. You got Curry ahead of Ja. So Ja is the second best player on the court.
Yes.
Okay. Have you had enough of Draymond yet? I'm tired of Draymond. His antics, him explaining his antics. Like, come on, man. Like, dude, you had 2 technical, flagrant 1 fouls, and then you're screaming like it was not a foul at all. Come on, bro. I mean, are you tired of Draymond? Was his foul? Was his foul
for the sake of the cohesion of the of that team? You tolerate a little bit more than you should.
Okay.
For sure.
I
don't think he should have been kicked out of that game for doing that. I mean,
he whacked him and threw him down.
It's weird, Cam, and we've been watching playoffs since I started watching playoffs on a black and white television. So just to show my age a little bit, man. If you swipe down going for the ball and you kind of miss the ball and you hit somebody in their face, and all of a sudden that's a flagrant 1, and then you kind of rip the jersey on the way down, and all of a sudden you're out the game.
Okay.
Yeah. We've watched basketball a little bit too long to really feel that way about it.
You're justifying what happened. If you swipe down, you swipe down and you miss, and you hit the guy in the head and miss the ball.
That's automatically a flagrant 1 right now.
Okay, so in according to the rules, that's a flagrant 1. But then once you do that, and then you swipe at you rake his jersey.
That's just emotion. I don't really feel like he was trying to be malicious about it, man. I don't think it was kick out of the game type of offense. I really, really don't.
It wasn't on the same level as Dylan Brooks knocking Gary Payton.
Oh, breaking his elbow out for the entire year.
I mean, that's he fell. That's the way he fell. That's the way he fell.
That's just the way that he. Yeah.
That's the way he fell.
Okay. Why did he fall that way?
He got knocked out of the air.
Oh, okay.
That was totally uncalled for. But come on, Cleveland, it depends on how you fall. Is reaction. Sometimes is a lot of the reaction that you get from people. They're not upset because Clark didn't get hit when Draymond slammed into the ground. He didn't get hurt. He laid there. He looked like he was hurt for a minute, but then he popped right up. Peyton gets his elbow. It was an ugly fall. He gets his elbow fucked up. That looks worse than it was. However, one clearly was worse than the other. However, one also looked a lot worse than the other. Correct? the optics looked a lot worse because he was in the air. He was Brooks chased him down, but they both were flagrant fouls that deserved to be kicked out. You disagree with that? You think Green didn't deserve to be kicked out, but Brooks did? Is that what you're telling me?
Correct.
Well, no. Draymond, I think Draymond was just. It wasn't on the same level as Dylan Brooks, but they both deserved the ejection, in my opinion. And it's based on today's rules. Obviously, you have to base it on today's rules. Speaking of this game, though, Brent Clark has been looking. Let me say he hasn't been looking. He hasn't been looking good. He hasn't been looking anything other than what I've expected to see him when he played when I covered him at Gonzaga, and he came into the league. He was the same exact player at Gonzaga, not a super scorer. He was more the glue guy, to get the rebounds, the hustle guy, to get block shots. He had more block shots. In fact, I think there was one game where he did something. He had a double. I think he had 20 and 10, and like nobody. There've been like 3 people to do that in the elite 8 to get a 20 and 10 and 5 blocks. I think was what he did in that particular game. Nobody's done that particular thing. But he was getting lobs. It was, he got 4 or 5 lobs in the game. That's 8 points. He got a couple putbacks. That's 12 points. Went to the line, hit a couple free throws. That's, now he's at 14 points. And it was just a couple putbacks and gave him his 20 points. So it wasn't nothing. It wasn't like when Ja went off for 18 in the fourth quarter, but it was just a consistent effort, but the gritty effort. And we're finally seeing that in these playoffs. Excuse me. I hadn't seen this all year from him. And there was a period of time in the season that he did not play for whatever reason. He was getting DNPs. But we see his value is showing up in the playoffs. Have you noticed that about what Clark is doing? He hasn't been. You haven't even noticed Clark out there.
No, I mean it's cool, man. You're hustling around. You're long. You're playing great defense. You're boxing out. You're blocking some shots here or there. In the second round.
Oh my goodness gracious!
And you're playing a team with 2 full-grown dragons that are training a baby dragon, Jordan Poole. You will go home.
Oh, you got them going home. You got them done.
Memphis?
Yeah.
You don't have them going home? You have them winning this series? I'm all ears. Oh my gosh. I will put some money down on whatever you want, as much as you want, if you think the Memphis Grizzlies are going to win this series.
I don't think they're out
of it. I will go
to
the highest of heights.
I don't think they're out. They're not out of it like you're trying to proclaim right now.
They're out of it because they're in the series. They're playing the Golden State Warriors. They're out of it for that reason alone. If you think that there's something they can do to win this series,
wait. This series. What is the series right now? What is the series?
1-1.
1-1.
Yeah.
And did they lose the first game on a potential layup?
Sure did.
Come on. You're talking like the Warriors.
I think that's the game that Draymond Green got ejected.
And Brooks got ejected yesterday, and they still.
I think Gary Payton broke his arm that game too, right?
Oh,
and
boy.
The Golden State Warriors lost by
all of a sudden.
Before. I'll say it again. All of a sudden, I will put whatever you want.
We're gonna have to circle back on this.
Winning this series.
We're gonna have to circle back. I might take you up on that one.
We'll do it now before it gets kind of out of hand.
No, we're gonna talk before they play tomorrow. Don't you?
No.
They play Friday.
Okay. Well, then if we talk tomorrow and you got something on it, we got to come back on Wednesday when the series is over, and you got to explain why there's a brand new Bentley in front of my rent.
Look at it.
Whatever you want, man.
Don't say whatever now. Don't say
whatever.
Don't get to talking like that.
No, it's whatever. If you think the Memphis Grizzlies are going to beat the Golden State Warriors, whatever you want, man.
Cleveland. we gonna.
I'm willing to go presidential Rolex on that, man. If you think and Brandon Clark and Desmond Bain,
you just told me Ja was that
Jr.
You just told me Ja was that dude.
Western Conference Finals of the NBA. What's up?
Yeah, we're gonna come. I'm gonna sleep on that one. So I might need some new shoes on this one.
Okay,
some new shoes because of
Get them Clark W. Griswolds, them shiny white ones out, man. Whatever you want, man.
I might need some new shoes. So we got the Heat. The Heat. We talked about the Heat already, and the Sixers with Embiid being out. Yeah, we got through all the series. We got through all the series now. What do you think about Phil now advising your Lakers to find on the new coaching search? As earlier in the week, on the list of the Lakers wish list was Doc. Like they're hoping that Philly gets knocked out of the playoffs so they can go ahead and get Doc back out here in LA. Talking about Quinn Snyder, when he gets the boot out of Utah, or Nick Nurse. Which one of those guys that you like?
You know, Cam, I like Mark Jackson. I think he's a better fit.
I wouldn't like Mike to get that job because I think Mark is too good for the Lakers, in my opinion. I don't know, Cleveland. Have you seen JJ Redick as a commentator on either NBA Countdown or any of the shows? NBA Today.
A little bit. I've seen a little bit on NBA Countdown.
On what's the other show with Stephen A? First Take. Have you seen him on First Take?
Haven't seen him on First Take. Seen him a little bit on NBA Countdown.
I like JJ Redick, man. I seen him. He was on First Take today, eating Stephen A's ass up. I like that. Stephen A is the one who made the ridiculous assertion that the Lakers should consider trading LeBron James. I want to get your feedback on that, but he couldn't hold in his laugh the whole time. He's like, so let's get this straight. The Lakers should trade LeBron James. That's what they should do. And then he was going down. He said, like, the team to like Portland. Like, Stephen A mentioned Portland. He mentioned Memphis. He mentioned Cleveland. He mentioned Miami. He's like, let me get this straight. You want the Lakers should trade LeBron James to Miami for their guys? Like, it was hysterical. I'm a big fan now of JJ Redick in his commentary. But let's toil around what Stephen A is saying that the Lakers should consider trading LeBron James. What do you think about that scenario? No, you should do it. I mean, should you consider trading Anthony Davis?
Only because it would upset LeBron.
But you got 2 years left with LeBron, and now you're trying to satisfy LeBron still, huh? So you're back in the same mode with Kobe in his final years, is trying to satisfy the old guy.
Except for Kobe didn't lead the league in scoring his 20th year in the league, or 19th year in the league.
Okay, so it's 20th or 21st, or whatever one you want to go with. You think he can duplicate that effort?
Well, he averaged 30. I think he can get 27. Yeah, I feel confident with that.
And you guys are going to be what? You think you can make the playoffs next season? Or
depends on what the roster moves are. I mean, maybe there are some people coming on the horizon you don't know about, Cam.
Oh, you think you're going to hit on another Malik Monk? You think you're going to do that again?
Bigger names. Think bigger, Cam.
Oh boy!
Don't think like a Clipper. Think like a Laker.
Oh yeah. You're going for Bradley Beal. That's what you're going for. You're going for Bradley Beal and Joel Embiid and Donovan Mitchell and and Ja Morant. That's who you're going for, huh? That's who you're going for.
Up
Or,
north.
you want KD? Or you want KD or Kyrie? Are you going for
Up north.
KD or Kyrie?
Up north.
You want Pascal? All of a sudden, you want Pascal Siakam on your squad?
Up northwest.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you still want that to happen? You still think that's gonna happen? You still think that's gonna happen, huh? Because he's taking pictures, doing videos or commercials with Ryan Garcia. You don't think they flew up north to Nike Town to do that commercial? You think that's too far for him to fly now?
Let's see.
Huh?
Can't talk about it, Cam.
Oh, said you don't want to jinx it. I got you. That's crazy. So what do you get? What do you get for Dame Lillard? Who do you send today? Who do you send to Portland? Portland. You think Portland wants who? Who do you think Portland wants? Aaron Baines.
Can't talk about it.
What's the kid Beasley?
Cam, I can't talk about it right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's take a little quick break here, fans. When we come back, man, we got the NFL to talk about. A lot of action. Some trades were made in the NFL. We got some suspensions being handed down. We got some questions. We got quarterbacks talking about they don't want to. We just had the draft, and it's not their job to mentor the young quarterbacks coming on the team. we got a quarterback out there who just nobody seemed to want. Oh, we want to talk about what the Dolphins did in the draft too. We're gonna get to that. So let's take a little quick break, Cleveland. When we come back, man, we got NFL topics for you. Stick with us, fans. We'll be right back. Take a little quick break.
Get back in your lane. Let's get back in your lane, homie.
What you talking about? Oh my goodness. This guy. Well, let's talk about it, man. We got the NFL recap, the draft just this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about the draft, or you want to talk about the trades? What you want to talk about first?
Oh boy, I'm much more interested in the draft. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about the draft. I'll approach it from this standpoint.
Trades. I mean, what? Yeah. The draft is good.
I mean, I think the trades is kind of more you could tell the trades are more impactful than the players who have played the game. Like one trade we didn't mention and kind of went under the radar is the Rams trading Robert Woods to the Titans. Robert Woods had a knee injury a few weeks ago. I know I didn't bring it up, but Robert Woods going to the Titans. You're familiar with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's injured, when did he tear his ACL? That was before. That was like October, right? That he tore it. So let's say he may or may not be ready for the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But the Titans got another wide receiver. The Titans turn around trade AJ Brown to the Eagles. Poses a lot of questions. What do you think about the trade to the Eagles? Tannehill obviously couldn't have been happy about this move. The AJ Brown going to another, shall we say, mediocre receiver or mediocre quarterback. I like Jalen Hurts. I like his tools. I like what he does. I like his mobility. He can move the ball. He's just not the game-breaking quarterback. And I want to say not a winning quarterback. He's just not a game-breaking quarterback. I don't see him hitting Brown on his 90-yard or 80-yard pass down the field. It's more like a 30-yard pass, and Brown has to do the rest of the work. You know what I mean? Or just to be consistent, Brown could be a and dare I say a Michael Irvin type quarterback or receiver who just moves the chains, who's just good in that 15 to 20-yard route, which is not bad, a bad job, but I think that's where his best work will be done. And with Hurts as a quarterback, that's probably where a lot of his work is going to be done. What do you think about that trade from the Titans standpoint? And who will he be more happy playing for Jalen Hurts with Jalen Hurts or less happy playing with Jalen Hurts?
Terrible trade for the Eagles. He'll be less happy playing with Jalen Hurts.
Terrible trade for the Eagles. Why would you say that's a terrible trade for the Eagles? How can that possibly?
Because they gave up draft capital to get him, and they're getting AJ Brown. He's had injury issues and has not proven to be that dude.
Oh my goodness. AJ Brown playing alongside Devontae.
They already have Devontae Smith. That's what I'm about to say. Come on, man. So was he come over to be a number two?
No. Okay, who's number one on that? Who's number one? Who's your number one receiver?
Devontae Smith's your number one receiver.
Is he? Or does he need somebody? Does he need somebody to take the pressure off? To take some pressure off him?
No, he doesn't need pressure off of him.
Come on. You already know that if you have a big receiver like AJ Brown who can run the underneath routes, you have that.
Well, then why wasn't it successful in Tennessee, and why were they so willing to get rid of him and just draft a younger version of himself?
Who was his other receiver in Tennessee?
Julio Jones over there?
Oh, get out of here. Come on, man. Julio Jones was past his prime number one. That's to start with. And then his quarterback. Who was his quarterback in Tennessee? Come on.
Ryan Tannehill took his team to the, I believe, the AFC Championship.
Here you go. Was that Ryan Tannehill or was that the running game?
The quarterback of that team that went to the AFC Championship was Ryan Tannehill.
Was that him? Ryan Tannehill threw 11 passes in one game. That's not leading your team nowhere. That's relying on your running game.
Well, sometimes, it's addition by subtraction. You're doing what the team needs to do to win. You asked me who got the better of the trade, man. The Tennessee Titans got the better of the trade. Man.
Wow,
AJ Brown is not going to be that guy up there.
Is that because of the receiver? That's because of him, or is that because of the quarterback throwing to him? That's what I'm trying to clarify.
You answered your own question, Cam. You already know it's about Jalen Hurts and what he can do. He's limited in what he can do.
Okay, so you're saying it's about Jalen, and I can see that, but at the same time, just like in
that's why wide receivers making all that noise going other places where they got nobody throwing them the ball. I mean, it's like, so what? You can't throw the ball to yourself.
But no, this just like the similar situation in South Florida, where the quarterback doesn't. The excuses are over after this season. If you can get it done, you're going to get it done this year. If you can't get it done, you won't get it done this year. So they're eliminating any excuses to that Jalen Hurts can or can't get it done. All those excuses are out the door. It's a kind of a make or break here. Um, Deshaun, D. Hopkins to miss 6 games for the Cardinals. He won't even appeal it. What does that say? What does that say about the situation that he chooses not to even appeal the suspension?
That he feels he has no chance of winning the appeal, and that he's just going to, take the punishment.
Don't you at least appeal and come up with an excuse and maybe get 2 games knocked off? Like,
I think it has something to do with something that he was taking adverse, getting vaccinated for COVID, I believe was the explanation. Isn't that what you heard?
I mean, I'm trying to wonder, like, dude, okay, you got caught, you got busted. Go ahead and appeal it. At least you might miss 4 games instead of 6 games. I mean, that's the 2 extra games are huge, especially for that roster.
I do recall when Richard Sherman appealed the Adderall suspension and got it overturned.
It's worth a try. That's all I'm saying. It's worth a try. Whether right or wrong, it's worth a try. The Ravens, in turn, understanding their situation, they went out and traded for Marquise Brown. The Cardinals, understanding the situation, went out and traded for the Ravens, Marquise Brown. Let's talk about this impact. He goes from Lamar Jackson to Kyler Murray. I think Brown is excited about that move. I mean, he gets at least he might get found deep a few more times, more often in Arizona than he has in Baltimore. But Baltimore, any receiver a note they have to throw to?
Try Bateman.
Okay, he was a rookie last year who must have the season, didn't he? I mean, like you're expecting the second year guy who missed half as a rookie year to have a serviceable impact in the league. Yes, like that's kind of a strange. I don't typically question what the Baltimore Ravens do with their personnel decisions, but that is a question.
Let's not forget it's not Aaron Rodgers back there behind center. So I mean, just get open.
Understood. No. Understood. So they need. I mean,
not a real intricate passing game. Just get open.
I would think that you need some consistency and some continuity in that passing game because it's not.
Hollywood Brown had not provided that in the years that he was there, so why not get rid of him and trade him to somebody that wants it?
Is that the receiver? Is that the quarterback?
He's got Lebron Jackson at quarterback. I mean, well, damn. I mean, he's going to go to Arizona and do what? Maybe it will just unleash this talent that had been bottled up because he was playing with Lamar Jackson. So you're answering your own question.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I don't like to typically question the moves that the Baltimore Ravens make on either side of the ball with their special teams, with their
nothing a question about it. If they get rid of them, there's something to it, right?
They don't have a receiver. I'm concerned they don't have a receiver. Like, what do they expect Lamar Jackson to do? Who do they expect them to pass? They need to have some threat of running.
But Cam, you're acting like, man, if Hollywood Brown was there, then he'd have somebody to pass to. No, they went through that already, and he's not that guy.
Okay, now you have nobody, is what I'm saying.
That Bateman.
Bateman's the defenses of the NFL don't fear Bateman as they wouldn't fear.
Second coming to Marvin Harrison is who he is.
Huh?
Second coming to Marvin Harrison is who he is.
Yeah, he's showing you nothing to give you confidence in that. That you're looking at his rookie report. That's what you're looking at.
Second coming Marvin Harrison, that's who he is.
Okay, all right.
Just don't have a Peyton Manning throwing the ball, so just do the best you can.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I mean, they already don't have many running backs, so their team was hurt last year. Again, I'm not going to question the Ravens or what they do. I just don't. I'm going to be interested to see who their receiver is next season. And the growth, I don't think this helps the growth of Lamar Jackson any. To just send away your receivers again. You're saying, well, he wasn't tearing up the stat sheet last year, but that wasn't solely his fault. I'd be interested to see how this impacts the growth of Lamar Jackson. The Raiders. If the Raiders, what would you trade Darren Waller to the Packers for? Would you trade Darren Waller to the Packers for? If so, what would it take to get Darren Waller?
You'd trade Darren Waller for a second-round pick.
Second rounder. Okay. All right. What do you think about this situation in Tennessee now that they drafted Malik Willis, who could have been a Seattle Seahawk? Tennessee drafted him, and your boy Ryan Tannehill says it's not his responsibility. It's not his role to be coaching up the young talent. What do you think about that?
All high-profile starting NFL quarterbacks say that. It's very rare that someone says, "Yeah, man, come learn everything that I know, and let me take you under my wing, and let me train my
Time out. Did you just call Ryan Tannehill a high-profile quarterback in the NFL? Is that what you just did?
Well, someone that's been to an AFC championship for sure. Has your guy Herbert been to an AFC championship? Has your guy Tua Tagovailoa been to an AFC championship? I mean, the list of quarterbacks that go to an AFC championship are the list is kind of short.
Ouch.
Josh Allen ain't been to one.
Ouch.
Your boy Mac Jones ain't been in one.
I don't know. You know how to respond to this guy. I don't. Who will be the starting quarterback in Tennessee when the season starts? Will Malik Willis be the starting quarterback in Tennessee?
No.
Will he be starting by week 6?
No.
Ryan Tannehill is going to hold Malik Willis off the whole season.
Yes.
Okay. So are you going on the record to say that Malik Willis will not start a game for Tennessee Titans outside injury, obviously? Are you saying Malik Willis will not start a game for the Tennessee Titans this season?
Outside of injury, no.
I want some of that. What you got on that one? Right now?
We'll have to see, Cam. You've been a little delinquent on some of them other payouts, so
I want some of that.
Still want my ribs. So we'll talk about it a little bit later.
Malik Willis versus Ryan Tannehill. I got some money on that one right there. Anybody draft anybody better than Tyreek Hill? Was there a better draft than Tyreek Hill?
Did any of the teams get a player better than Tyreek Hill?
In the draft, yeah. In this NFL draft.
Oh, for sure.
That we just had over the weekend. Did anybody get drafted better than Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
Who? I say the Dolphins won this draft. If
I mean, are we just going down the draft? I think at least 8 of the first 10 players are better than Tyreek Hill for the long haul.
Get out of here. Get out. All right. Baker. No one wants Baker, huh?
Apparently, no. He's rubbed people the wrong way to a point that he just can't find a home nowhere. I mean, Detroit don't want him. Apparently, John and Pete are like, nah, we're good, which is weird.
They're going with Drew Lock.
You just bring him in, like, okay, we'll compete. They're like, nah,
what happened to this competition? What happened to this competition Wednesdays? And
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what makes it weird.
Is it Drew Lock?
Cam, that's what makes it weird. He is the perfect on the surface. He's like, it plugs in like that, right? And and John and Peter like, nah, not really.
Drew Lock must be somebody's family member.
No, it's not that. It's all about Baker. It's all about Baker.
Drew Lock has got to be. They didn't draft a quarterback.
It's all about Baker, or you would bring him in to compete and assuming that he would win it. And they don't even want to do that.
This is a bad look.
With Drew Lock as your potential starting quarterback to start week 1. Says a lot about Baker, man. Not a lot about the Seahawks, man, because no one else has pulled the trigger either.
That's a bad look. This is a bad look on you, dude.
Carolina went a whole other direction, right?
They drafted
Washington went a whole other direction with To Washington's defense, they didn't know that he was going to be available and went with Carson Wentz. But there is not a single other team that has made an inquiry about him.
Yeah. And he's at his ranch in Texas or somewhere, chilling. Well, we don't have to see no more progressive commercials.
Waiting for the call, waiting for somebody to break their leg in practice. And, oh, man, let's go get Baker and talk to him. Try and talk him down out the trees.
When's the last number 1 draft pick that's been sitting on the side? I guess this happens all the time. I can't say that the number 1 draft pick always doesn't pan out. But this is, you go from leading one of the most talented teams in the NFL to one season to next year being out of the league. Nobody, not even in training. You can't even prepare for OTAs. You're not even going to OTAs here next week.
Who does the New Orleans Saints have rolling out a quarterback? Like, wow.
Isn't Jameson? Is that Jameson?
Really? See, there you go. See?
Is that Jameson? I thought it was Jameson.
Taysom Hill, competition, yeah.
No, well, Taysom Hill's not going to be the quarterback. Taysom Hill got moved, actually, I thought.
Oh, so he's not. Okay. So just Jameis.
Yeah, just Jameis. That's amazing because I really thought
bring him in New York. Was the battle of Daniel Jones. What's Jared Goff giving you up there in Detroit? I mean, there's all kinds of teams that are like, what do you? I mean, is Baker better than Justin Fields right now today? Who would you rather have? You had to have a quarterback to play a game for your life. You want Justin Fields or Baker Mayfield? Who do you want?
I mean, I'm not a fan of either one of these guys, really. Well, I'm more of a fan of Baker than I was of Justin Fields, but
okay. I mean, so you can't bring him in because you don't want to mess up the kid's head, right? Yeah, so he's all these places where it's like, okay, well, you don't want to mess the kid's head up, so we can't bring him in. And then it's a bunch of places, well, no, you're not really getting that. We need a little bit more. And it's like, yeah, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, man. That's horrible.
Yeah, man. It's I feel for the kid, man. I feel for the kid. I don't know where he's going, but I feel for the kid, man. It's maybe this is humble.
Texans don't think he's a better option than Davis Mills. I mean, that's weird. There's all kinds of teams, right?
I mean, apparently Davis Mills was number 1. What he's living on is his projections coming out of high school. He was the number 1 quarterback. What do they call it?
Yeah, come on, man. We're the NFL, man. He's not living off that.
No, I'm telling you. That's what he's living off of, bro. I'm being 100 with you. I think that's what he's living off of because he continues to get a lot of love, man, from some of the people in the know, if you will, around the game. So we got this weekend the Seahawks, man. Let's talk about the draft. Let's get into it. What did you like about the NFL draft? And then I want to do something unique here. I want to look at, obviously, it doesn't make any sense to grade the draft, right? Grade the players right now because we don't know what's going to happen over the next couple of years. But I want to see if you agree with this. I was just trying to do some research. I'm looking at CBS.com. I think they have the best format of talking about. I don't necessarily agree with them, but they have the best format. At least they tell me who they think won the draft overall, and then they give me some reasons why. This is CBS.com, so I just want to run this by you. Did you review the draft? Did you look at the draft? What's your thoughts on the draft? Let's start with that.
I did review the draft. I thought that the New York Jets absolutely killed it. I thought that the New York Giants potentially could have really, really killed it. The other teams, we'll have to see what those players, ultimately end up doing.
Okay, so you said Jets and Giants, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I thought the Jets because they got Sauce. You was a big fan. You're a big Sauce guy, huh? They got Sauce and they got the lineman, right?
They got Sauce, they got the receiver from Ohio State, and then they got the lineman.
Okay, so that was a good mixture
they got Sauce, they got Wilson from
they had so many
Ohio
picks,
State, and then they got Johnson from Florida State.
All right, so I'm trying to find them in this list here. I mean, they had a lot of picks, so it'd be interesting to see how they played out. And then to pair this draft, so with last year's drafts, I think they're on a good trajectory. And as much as I hate to say it, I know they're in my division. They got Bowles as the head coach. I don't like that, but
no. Todd Bowles is coaching Tampa Bay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Who's the Jets head coach? But they got the Solace, yeah, from the Jets or from the Niners. Excuse me. So they have the CBS has the Jets as the number 9, having the best draft, and as you mentioned, Sauce. They got the receiver. Then they got the Jermaine Johnson, the edge rusher out of Florida State. They got the lineman Max Mitchell out of Louisiana. So they have. I mean, those are Sauce and Garrett Wilson, the receivers, and the cornerback that they needed. Let's see if the cornerback plays up to snuff. But in that division, obviously, with who they picked up, who's in that division they have to play against, they're going to have to cover somebody because they got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle play against. So, I mean, that was a considerable pick, but the CBS has them at number 9. Again, I don't agree with this. I'm just interested. They have the best format to kind of monitor to look at these numbers. So I'm looking for the Giants I'm at number 17. Trying to find where they have the Giants at. And you said the Giants was one of the best. Just what other draft? Who else? What other team draft did you like?
I like the Baltimore Ravens getting the cat from Michigan that unfortunately ruptured his Achilles tendon in the second round. That's just huge.
Okay, you said the Giants. They got the Giants at number 29 best draft pick. They got Thibodeau. I'm surprised you even ranked this with Thibodeau, because he played for Oregon. They got the offensive tackle from Alabama. They got the receiver from Kentucky, the offensive guard from USC. That man, they got a good. They got a lot of players who should make the team and compete. Actually, the defensive tackle from Arizona, the linebacker from Indiana. Yeah, they got some quality players here, but they have them ranked at the number 29 pick. Thibodeau is he going to have more? Is he thinking more off the field than on the field, or are you going to have to ring him in and make sure he plays consistently? That's interesting. Where do you think they have the Seahawks? And I'm surprised you're not raving about what the Seahawks done in the draft.
They have the Seahawks at number 16.
No, actually, they have the Seahawks at number 4.
Ooh, really?
Actually getting a legitimate lineman with the number 9 pick. They got an edge rusher, as you know. They got Ken Walker, the running back. Who says they don't need a running back? And they got probably one of the better steals of the draft, Abraham Lucas, the tackle out of Washington State. Would you want to talk about that kid a little bit?
We don't talk a lot about Washington State cats, but hopefully he, puts his nose down, puts a different jersey on, and he'll be our right tackle. It'll be cool.
Are you excited about either one of these cornerbacks, Kobe Bryant or? You got to be excited about Kobe Bryant. I just read that name and realized Tyreek Woolen. I mean, which guy are you most excited about?
I'm excited about the 6'4" cat that runs a sub 4.35 40. Richard Sherman with better speed. See if we can coach him up. Kobe Bryant played on the other side of Sauce, but still won the Jim Thorpe Award. So, yeah, excited about that.
They have him at the number 4 draft pick. Let's see what this does. Which player? I think the Eagles would, by getting Jordan Davis when they got him at 17. They got Nakobe Dean. I think that was huge to get the dude Kyron Johnson out of Kansas. Like they got quality replacements for all their old players, like the players who are beyond who are long in the tooth. They got quality replacement for them, Jordan Davis. And then we talked to Justin Jones, who also is going to go on to that defensive line. So a lot of it focuses on the defensive lineman or defensive side of the ball. Jordan Davis, obviously, they got the linebacker and the edge rusher, and you add Justin Jones to that mix. I think the Eagles did a lot, and then plus, I think they had a good draft. And if you add acquiring AJ Brown to their team in the draft, I mean, hell, they did a pretty good job in the draft. What do you think about the Eagles?
Not bad. I mean, we'll see how those players maturate and how they ultimately end up. But yeah, they don't play in a very tough division other than the Cowboys. Obviously the Redskins and the Giants haven't proven to be formidable competition to this point. So we'll see what they can do as far as kind of making the playoffs. But not sold on Jalen, so we'll see.
Not sold on Jalen, huh? That'll be interesting because, like I said, they're going to give him an opportunity, and all excuses are going to be gone after this season. So the team that they have having, did I mention it? The team that they have having the number 1 draft pick was the Carolina Panthers. They like the
best draft,
The team, the team CBS has them ranked as the team having the best draft with the Carolina Panthers because they get the lineman out of North Carolina State. They get the quarterback, Matt Carroll, out of Ole Miss. They get linebacker, edge rusher. Well, I think it was the quarterback that kind of turns the tide on the guys because obviously they needed to upgrade from the former USC quarterback that they had, Sam Darnold. So they have you get a lineman and a quarterback, day 1 starters. I think that makes a difference. They had the Arizona Cardinals at number 2. Number 2 in the draft. They had the Kansas City was number 6 in the draft, just for shits and grins. I thought the Detroit Lions, this ought to be interesting. They had them at number 5 with Aiden Hutchinson falling right in their lap. They get Jameson. They moved up to get Jameson Williams. I was surprised by that. My question is, I thought they picked up another receiver in this offseason, if I'm not mistaken. I'm having a brain fart. I don't know exactly who it is, but I thought they picked up another receiver. My question is, they're picking up the receivers as if the quarterback they have is going to be sufficient enough to get the ball to these guys. I'm kind of questioning that. I don't know who that receiver is, who they picked up, but going to get Jameson Williams, that's a power move. And what do you think about their draft? They get Pascal, another edge rusher out of Kentucky. They get a safety. out of Illinois. They get another tight end. They got linebacker, edge rusher, and DB. So they focus a lot on their defense, but then they also added a couple pieces, key pieces to their offense. What do you think about the combination of Jameson Williams and Jared Goff?
We just had this conversation a few minutes ago, Cam. You can't throw the ball to yourself, so it doesn't really matter if you're a dynamic receiver. I don't know if you've ever heard the list of the quarterbacks that were thrown at Keyshawn Johnson, but it would make you throw up in your mouth, man. It's like, wow, you could be the number one pick in the draft, the best wide receiver of the last 25 years. And if you don't have a quarterback that can get you the ball, you'll just get frustrated and mad and angry and lash out.
So is that are you predicting a season that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle's going to have?
Oh man, we don't talk about the Dolphins right now, man. It's nothing to talk about really.
So let's touch on the Baltimore Ravens. They get Kyle Hamilton, the safety out of Notre Dame. It looks really good, by the way. I mean, just a few clips ahead. They get the offensive lineman. They get the edge rusher. I don't see no cornerback. They get the cornerback. I don't see no running back. Yeah, well, they did way back in the sixth round. I don't see a quarterback or wide receiver. That questioned me about this draft. But again, I do not want to question anything the Baltimore Ravens do.
Well, I was actually watching the draft, and I saw the angst and anger and disappointment in Kyle Hamilton's face as he fell to 14. Yeah, he's going to be ready to ball out.
What do you think about
at just the right spot, that he's just enough angry about where he landed for those first 3 seasons to be impactful?
What do you think about Desmond Reader, Cincinnati quarterback, going to the Falcons? Drake London, I'm surprised, man. I watched Drake London for 2 years at USC, going to those games.
And
good kid.
And
I saw him as a tight end. I didn't see him as a wide receiver in the league.
Appreciate you being honest with you, Cam. He was not a number 8 pick, and that was way too high to get him. And either quarterback, he'll get some playing time. As we talked about the other quarterback, can we do this? What is he going to see the field? No, that dude's going to see the field fairly soon.
He should
Marcus
see
Mariota is going to get hurt.
Come on, he will not even get hurt. He's going to
not be effective, right?
He's going to be
run the RPO so many times, right?
Exactly. I like the running back Tyler Algieri out of BYU, but I think that they're going to be worth watching and interesting to watch, because Desmond Reader is going to be a fresh quarterback on the scene. As you know, how is he going to be better or worse than Matt Ryan? I mean, in Drake London, I just didn't see him. Again, good kid. I just didn't see him. I thought for sure he was going to be a tight end. I didn't know he was going to be number 8 in the draft. That surprised me. Let's talk about here we go. Miami Dolphins. They only have 4 picks in the draft. They got a linebacker, wide receiver, linebacker, and a quarterback. Quarterback out of they got the quarterback saying he won't threaten to attack on low for the job, but he'll have a chance to win the backup job. Well, if he wins the backup job, that might be taking Tua's job, because Tua's supposed to be the backup. Because I really think that boy's going to end up starting some games for the Dolphins. Teddy Bridgewater. Let's see who else. What other picks were intriguing for you? What other teams had an intriguing draft for you? I'm trying to go down the list and see which picks or which teams I really liked.
Cam, it was funny. This draft unfolded in a way that was just really weird and kind of threw everybody off, because everybody thought the corners that were supposed to go 9, 10 went 3, 4, right? And then no quarterbacks came off the board until Pittsburgh pick it at like whatever, right? And then all these receivers came off the board. It's like, okay. So some of these teams, like, Kansas City got the dude from Purdue, right? The Greek freak. He's just supposed to be a beast. And some of these, like the Giants got Evan Neal at number 7. He's supposed to go number 1. So it's weird the way the draft kind of unfolded. But I mean, it's all in potential, right? It's all in the fit. It's all in scheme, right? We'll see what
talking about fit and scheme. Kenny Pickett going to the Steelers. What's your thought about that? How do you expect that to fit in? They got another wide receiver, Pickens from Georgia. You have to. They
2
got
wide receivers, and
Calvin
you
Austin
always
from
talk about
Memphis.
Pittsburgh being that team that just knows how to draft
You have
receivers,
to, yeah.
right?
You got so. I mean,
Replacing Juju Smith Schuster, right? And
yeah.
still got Chase over there and a couple others, and we'll
I'm
see how it
100%.
goes.
I'm 100% confident in any receiver they put on the board. And any
Yeah,
receiver they put on the board, I'm 100% confident in it. But what do you think about Kenny Pickett going there?
I think it was a good fit because he knows the room, he knows the environment, he knows the atmosphere. He's from there, and he's like Tomlin said, he's been in the building for a couple of years, man. So they've already kind of been in his ear. I mean, it's never really, crossed their mind that he would actually be available at this point at the 20th pick. I mean, like, whoa. See what you
Yeah,
can do.
so
Should they pick Malik? We'll see. No one ever
um,
knows quarterbacks and D ends, right?
um, well, again, he's going to have an opportunity to play right away, and so we'll see how that plays out. We can't end the draft talk without talking about what the Los Angeles Chargers did. Looks like they get another day one starter, falls right into their lap with Zion Johnson, put him right on the offensive lineman, and they got the running back Isaiah Spiller from Texas A&M. Now they needed that. That tells me um, the 4 things that I thought this team needed going into this draft was obviously the offensive lineman. I thought they needed a ball hawking safety. Um, to play next to Derwin James, to allow one of the things the coaches like to do is move Derwin James around a lot. And so I thought if they can get a safety who the coach felt comfortable to sit back in the back row where you can move Derwin James around, I think they needed that player there. I didn't see it. They had Nazir Adderley in that role last season. And the last 3 seasons, I just haven't been confident what Nazir can do. They got this guy, JT Woods, who's 6'2", 210 pounds, is a speedster, runs like a 4.3. My question is, can he tackle? And we'll see how that plays out. I also thought they needed a running back. I thought they needed a big back to take the pressure. I wouldn't even say take the pressure off, but add to the production of Austin Eckler. Some were Austin to put him in the role of the off speed back. Not the every down back. Austin is third. He's more than a third down back, but he is essentially a third down back. They need that bell cow running back, so it's not Austin Eckler. I don't know if Isaiah Spiller is that guy. He has the size. He's more of a game breaker, and what that tells me versus them guys going to get a bigger running back is they got this game breaker running back is that they believe in their offensive scheme, and their scheme is going to get them get the right back in there. Their scheme is going to get them 4 to 5 yards on a carry, and then if they have a game breaking back, he can turn that into that 4 or 5 yard carry into a 12-yard carry or maybe a 15-yard carry. That's what that tells me versus them getting a bigger back, because I thought they needed a bigger back for the fourth and ones, the third and ones. If you're going to go for it consistently, you want a back who can move the pile. And I don't think Isaiah Spiller's that style back. But with these linemen that they have, maybe they're scheming the one gap offense or the one gap running scheme like the Broncos used to have. If that back gets off, he's going to get 3 to 4 yards before it gets touched, and then it's up to him to do the rest. So maybe that's what you're trying to do there. But a running back like Isaiah Spiller, who's more of a game breaker than a pounded back, that tells me by drafting him, that tells me that they're thinking that philosophy. What's your thoughts on the draft? I mean, they got a couple linemen they needed They got a couple of defensive linemen they need to replace, and they got a couple cornerbacks that they're always adding cornerbacks to that mix. What's your thoughts on the Chargers draft?
Well, kudos for them getting some offensive linemen to kind of, like you said, help them kind of implement their offensive strategy. I think your comments are basically saying you're not really sold on quote unquote pound for pound. Austin Eckler, and that you fear he's going to get hurt and not really be that bell cow that you were looking for. So kind of disappointed you didn't get the running back with that, and kind of stayed with him as opposed to Melvin Gordon. As far, excuse me, I'm not done here. I'm not done here.
Good thing I know Austin.
As far as safeties are concerned, I mean, you might want to call Earl Thomas III. He said his mind's right. Get him on the cheap. So, and then hopefully all these things that you put together will get the Los Angeles Chargers in the playoffs this year, in the very tough AFC division. Kind of my thoughts on it.
Okay, that's interesting that you say that, and you try to take my comments, and it was not saying that I have no trust and faith in Austin Eckler.
You absolutely were saying that. That's not what I said. Otherwise, you would have confidence in pound for pound being able to get that 4th and 1, and because he's that kind of dude.
No. Austin Eckler will tell you
able to get it.
Austin Eckler would tell you himself.
He's been a little bit disappointed in the amount of games he's missed the last couple of years, and that's fine. Lots of people have.
Yeah, now he's trying to throw some stink in the game. I just said nothing of the sort. Don't
said all that. Don't believe me. You said all that without saying it, Cam. You're disappointed they didn't get a bell cow running back that could just run up in the hole and get you them 2 yards you need.
Austin Eckler would tell you himself he's not that running back. He would tell you he needs some help in the backfield. They spent a season searching for that. And so that's what I was pointing out. That's what I was pointing out, sir. If you didn't get it, football fans, you would understand. Actual football fans understand where I'm coming from.
You're disappointed in Austin Eckler and his production.
No, actual football fans, I believe, understand exactly where I'm coming from. So I'm not going to allow you to put the stink in the game. But yeah, we'll see how Spiller produces, though. It'll be interesting. I did expect him to get a bigger back for those must-have short yardage situations. But again, this just tells me like their offense is. They believe their offense is wide open here, and that they won't be in a short yardage often a situation very often, and they go on for game breakers. That's what that tells me.
And good luck to them Chargers making the playoffs this year.
No, all right, fans. We got one more segment to go. This week in history, we're gonna start our segment with this. Gwendolyn Brooks, back in May 1st, 1950, Gwendolyn Brooks, first black woman to win the Pulitzer Prize, first black to win the Pulitzer Prize. Not woman, first black person to win the Pulitzer Prize winner. So kudos to her. May 2nd, 1920, the first game of the Negro Leagues was played in Indianapolis. 1920, May 2nd. May 4th, 1961, the Corps begins freedom rides from Washington, D.C. To the south to force desegregation on the bus terminals. That was right along the civil rights movement there. May 6, 1787, the first Black Masonic Lodge was founded in Prince Hall, Boston. And then lastly, May 4, 1893, Cowboy Bill Pickett invents bulldog in Cleveland. And that's a skill where grabbing the cattle by the horns to wrestle them to the ground before they tie them up. They call it bulldogging. And that was an interesting find there. Cleveland, one thing this NBA playoffs has told me is there's still a lot of questions to be clarified in this year's NBA playoff. But one thing this NBA playoffs has told me is I asked you this question before. Will there be a lull in the NBA once LeBron retires? I asked you that before. You remember me asking this question? And yes. I can unequivocally answer the question for you. No, there will not be a lull when LeBron James retires. There's so many good players. We got Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, Devin Booker, Giannis Antetokounmpo, JaVale, I was about to say JaVale McGee. Did you see? Oh, did you see JaVale McGee though? All jokes aside, get the steal on Luca and then go ahead and take it down court and dunk on those guys. Did you see that? Um, but there's a lot of Joel Embiid. There's a lot of great players in the NBA that there will not be a law in the NBA once LeBron retires. Do you agree with that?
No, because only one of the players that you mentioned has played for an NBA title once, and LeBron James has played for the NBA title 9 times.
So you think there will be a law? I disagree with you.
There'll be a scramble. There'll be interest because it'll just be wide open because you just don't really know who has the capability of being a champion, but having an anchor that is a champion that is, again, played for the championship, 9 of his 17 years in the league. That's quite remarkable.
What do you think about the NIL? Is the NIL changing the face of football? Is it just rich get richer and kind of the same old with the teams with the boosters that can spend these extra dollars are still going to get the better players? It's just reclassifying the money. It's not really reorganizing the money, just redirecting the funds of college football. Do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Is the transfer portal a good thing?
No.
College football, college basketball?
Neither.
I think there's teaching the players to. I understand when they want to get out of bad situations.
It's teaching the players to evaluate their worth almost on a game by game basis. You don't have to have any commitment to it, and whatever you say, I mean, you can always just change your mind. And you're changing your mind between 18 and 20 years old, which is a time to change your mind quite a lot.
I do agree with it in one situation. If the kid signs a deal with the head coach, and what was Curtis Lake, who was the coach for the Huskies? Who was the coach of the Huskies?
Jimmy Lake. Yeah, no.
Jimmy Lake.
Bro, if the coach right now, and that makes perfect total sense. That makes perfect total sense because if your situation is completely changed, then absolutely get into the portal. But if you just went to Alabama and Jameson Williams is just not giving you a chance to play, so you got to transfer, and then you get to that place, you're like, whoa, I don't really like the University of Illinois Lafayette, whatever. Like, let me bounce somewhere else. And you're making all of these decisions when there's no one that's giving you an ultimatum for it, right? You can just up and leave. It's like if you leave, you may not be this.
Yeah. I don't know.
And it's just, and you're leaving it in their hands at a very young age, and the reasons that they're leaving are so.
Well, because they don't get playing time, they're not happy. The coaches being hard on them, all this stuff. I just don't. I don't like it. Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, their girlfriend might get mad at them, and it's like, I just don't want to be here no more. And I'm 19 years old. And I'm going to Arizona State.
Exactly. I'm not. I'm a fan of it. If the coach gets fired or the coach, he signs a new deal with somebody else, okay, your coach leaves, you have the opportunity to leave. But if you sign to the school, nothing changed. I mean, what are you complaining about? Be quiet. Did you see the footage of Dave Chappelle getting tackled on stage?
I did not. Was it graphic?
You got to check it out. The better footage is Chris Rock and Jamie Foxx cracking jokes afterwards. But you got to see that though. It's kind of funny. I mean, he took it. He took it. Dude tackled him.
You got to be a pretty big dude to tackle. Dave Chappelle's a pretty big dude, man.
And Dave Chappelle's not a small dude, but he also kind of caught him off guard and wasn't really anticipated. But nonetheless, you still got to catch him. They reclassified Brittany Griner's situation in Russia. Did that make sense to you? I'm not quite sure. I didn't get a chance to study up why they reclassified it and how that helps her situation. But she's still over there, man. What's your thoughts on that?
Haven't been too much on the Brit scene. It's unfortunate she's been over there. She's been over there for a grit, man. If it was somebody else, she'd be
Like
back
75,
already.
like 75 days, man. It's just bad timing on her part. Bad
If there was
timing.
someone else, she'd be back already for sure.
All right, CJ, really talk to me. What games did you have last week? What are you looking forward this week?
Oh, you know what, Cam? I kind of took a little bit of a beating. I was gonna go really hardcore on Golden State in that first game. I thought they were just gonna come out and blow those guys out. They did not. It was a very close game, but Golden State's gonna blow those guys out in Game 3. So take the points, my friends.
Canelo had fights this weekend. He fights Bivol. Who do you got? Canelo Bivol?
Man, you're right. You're right. I did see that Shakur Stevenson fight, and that was great, man. He beat that dude up pretty bad. Kind of really showed his ring generalship, and man, like he's ready for kind of being the mainstream. Needs a big fight. That wasn't really a big fight. And Haney, not really a big fight either. So he needs a fight after that to be a super duper.
But they're going to stay away from him. Lomachenko's not going to fight this kid.
Well, I mean, whoever's going to have to come and fight.
Did you saw him? Do you want to go fight that kid? Do you want to fight this?
Well, hey man. Okay, well, see now you're doing the Floyd Mayweather stuff, man. Where everybody you got to wait 3 years to fight somebody. Nah, man.
No. I'm not saying that's the way it should go. I'm just saying, do you want to fight this kid? I mean, everybody's going to try to stay
away because you think you're the best in the world, and you should prove your worth in front of that dude. Yeah, because
I don't. But at that weight limit, there's only a couple people. Like he's going to Tank Davis next. That's who he should need to be fighting.
Well, we'll get in there. Tank don't want none.
I don't think he wants none. I really don't think he wants none. But Tank fights rolling here in a couple weeks, so we'll see. Canelo Bivol, who you got in this one? Canelo should win, but Bivol's a scrapper, man. Canelo should win. Bivol has three. He has 3 rounds.
That's happening. Okay.
You want to see Canelo and Triple G? You want to see that one?
Yeah.
You do? A modest boxing fan wants to see Canelo Triple G. I do not want to see the trilogy. I don't care to see the trilogy.
I want to see Triple G get it back. Yeah.
I mean, I have a slot for the Mariners minute, but we agreed if they're under 500, they get no time. Under 500, 3 games back, 3-7 the last 10 games. Ugh, wee stinkola. Are you ready to give me a prediction for the American League? You gave me the Dodgers making the World Series in the National League. You want to give me a prediction for the American League yet?
Sure. Is it going to be the Yankees?
Well, come on. That's typical talk like you are. You just want to go big market. I got you. You just want to go big market. I feel you. I'm not even going to write that down, fans. But fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Cleveland, I want to thank you for your participation as well. I want to leave you guys with this quote here. Cleveland, you can motivate by fear and you can motivate by reward. Both of those methods are only temporary. The only lasting thing is self-motivation. You can motivate by fear and you can motivate by reward. But both of those methods are only temporary. The only lasting motivation, Cleveland, is self-motivation. Somebody has to be self-motivated to get it done. That's like you heard the term, you can lead a horse to water, right? But you can't
make him drink.
There you go.
And who is behind these prophetic words?
This Homer Rice, former baseball player. Homer Rice is a quote from the great Homer Rice. You can motivate by fear. You can motivate by reward. But both of those methods are only temporary. The only lasting motivation, the only lasting thing is self-motivation. Excuse me. It has to be self-motivated, Cleveland. You can't change anybody until
they want to be changed.
There you go. Saying the same thing, man. So, fans, I thank you guys for sticking with us. I thank you for being motivated enough to stick with us, and I hope I'm giving you enough motivation to come back to us next week. We do this each and every week, fans. I want to thank you guys again for sticking with us. Make sure you subscribe to Voice of the Fans on YouTube or subscribe to H&B Media TV on YouTube. Either one of those, you're going to get outstanding content each and every day. Our fellas do the Hoops and Brews on Mondays, I believe now. You're going to get consistent content throughout the weeks because they also have the show. I ain't going to hold you, that airs on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. You have our show. Thank you for tuning in to us. And if you have any feedback that you want to share, you want to reach out to the show, you can reach out to the show on Twitter @_ voice of the fans. @_ voice of the fans. Go ahead and follow us. It's a page that just created just here for the show, just so we can interact back and forth and we can have some live interaction. So thank you guys for tuning into the show. Thank you guys for your participation as well. Cleveland, thank you for participating as well. Fans, we're going to leave you with this. As always, thank you for making our voice your choice. Cleveland, thank you for your time, sir. We'll talk to you next week.
Right on, bro. Talk soon.